Welcome back, and today I'm going to make breadcrumbs homemade. Now if you have homemade bread, that's wonderful. I went ahead and just got some French bread from the store, and most stores have fresh French bread that they go ahead and make daily. I actually got this yesterday, and I purposely got it so that it's a little bit older because I wanted it to start drying out. And I'm going to make half. Last time I did this, I made the entire loaf, but I'm going to have, we're going to have garlic bread later. So I'm going to do half a loaf to show you. So half a loaf will be for my garlic bread, which will soften up when I put butter and basil and garlic on it. You can check that out on a different video. All right, so we're going to make breadcrumbs. And while I'm cutting up this bread, I will tell you why am I making breadcrumbs when it's so much easier just to buy them at the store. Well, that's what I normally do, but I could not find breadcrumbs that didn't have what I consider not good ingredients. Now, before I didn't have a problem. Just about a month ago or so, I could find some breadcrumbs. The store brand had some really good ones. And now the ones I've found so far have a whole bunch of ingredients that I don't want to eat. So we are going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to make breadcrumbs from scratch, and they're quite delicious. And then you might ask, well, what about storing them? Because I wanted something convenient. And so I am going to actually freeze these breadcrumbs, and I can use these from a frozen state to make my favorite dishes. So I'm going to cut the pieces like this size, and I'm going to put them on a small cookie sheet, and I'm just going to kind of lay them flat because we're going to toast these, and then I will toast them for a certain amount of time, then I'll flip them over and toast it again. So I hope everybody's having a good day. And like I said, what you could do is you could make homemade bread and do the same thing, but you kind of want to use day-old bread, not like fresh. You want it to have a chance to dry out. Now you can do this also with just sandwich bread if you'd like. If you want to do it with whole wheat bread, you can do it. Whatever you want to do. I wanted to do it with French bread because I just kind of wanted that flavor, because the French bread has kind of a little bit different flavor than my typical sandwich bread. So I'm going to continue to cut this up, and then I'll check back in just a few. Okay, as you can see, this is a small cookie sheet, and I'm actually going to toast this in my toaster oven. So let's go to the toaster oven. Okay, so I'm going to put, the setting is on toast. I'm going to do about 10 minutes, but I'm going to keep a close eye on it. Now, you could do this in your regular oven if you'd like. Just, you would have to put up the heat really high so that it'll toast by about 450 or so. And you really have to keep a close eye on it because we want to toast it and we don't want to burn it. So there's a thin line between toasting and burning. So like I said, I put this on 10 minutes, but I'm going to keep a close eye on it because even though last time I did it, it was about 10 minutes on each side. Because of the moisture level in the bread, you never know how long it's actually going to take to do it. So we will check on it shortly. Okay, so as you can see, this is a little hot, but it's toasted. And so now I'm going to just simply turn all these pieces over. I'm not going to do each side. I'm just going to do front and back. Okay, so I'm not going to try to do every single side. So I'm going to do front and back. So I'm going to turn this all over. I'll put it back in the toaster for another 10 minutes, and then we'll check back soon. Okay, so last time I put the toaster oven on 10 minutes. Now it looks like it's only been 7 minutes, and I'm going to have to turn it off because the toaster was hot, and now it's already toasted enough. So I'm just going to turn off the toaster oven. Okay, so as you can see, they're all toasted. So as I was saying, because the toaster oven was hot from the previous time, it didn't need as long. So you have to really keep a close eye on it. Same thing if you're using a regular oven, keep a close eye. If your bread's already somewhat dried out and not a lot of moisture in it, it might not take as long. So this is just kind of a guideline how long it's going to take. And also I want to mention, because you didn't see it, I was wearing hot pads. And this cookie sheet is extremely hot, even though the pieces of toast are not. So I'm going to put this into a metal bowl because it'll cool off faster. And then I'm probably going to wait about an hour. I'm just going to let this cool down 100%. And then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do occasionally. I mean, if you wanted to, you could probably put it on a cooling rack. But last time I didn't, and I didn't have any issues. So occasionally, I'm just going to do this. Occasionally. I'm just going to go ahead and cover this. I'll show you what cover I'm going to use so it can breathe. Okay, I'm just going to use a splatter screen. So that way, and then like I said, occasionally just kind of go in here and toss these around. This way it can go ahead and be covered, but yet breathe. All right, so we will check back in probably about an hour, and then we'll do the next step. All right, so these bread cubes have been sitting out, and they're nice and dry now. So what I'm going to use today is I'm going to use the Ninja. Now, if you don't have a Ninja, you could just use a regular food processor. That'll work too. So I'm probably going to have my editor, my husband, Derek, turn the sound volume down, because Ninjas, if you have one, you'll know they're very loud. So I'm going to put these all in here. And remember, it was a thing of French bread, but I cut it in half because we were having garlic bread tonight for dinner. I actually have some breadcrumbs already in the freezer, but I did use some of those, so I wanted to be proactive and make some more breadcrumbs, because if you're going to make them from scratch, you don't want to have to go ahead and start your dinner in the morning making breadcrumbs, having them dry out and do all that. You want to be able to just go to your freezer and get your breadcrumbs and use them. So it's a good idea to just kind of pre-prep. So I was at the store, I bought the bread, and then I decided to also make garlic bread. So I'm making half the amount because, as I said, I do still have some breadcrumbs in my freezer. So we're going to go ahead and turn on. I'm going to put it on. Let me actually show you. I don't know. Like I said, you might have a food processor. I'm going to put it on puree. All right. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to do it one more time, and then we'll do it another time when we mix in our spices. Okay, so I'm going to show you how many cups we have here. So on the side, this is convenient. So on the side of here it shows how many cups. So we got 2 cups, okay? And so I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. So I am these breadcrumbs that I'm making tonight are, let me adjust the camera a little, there we go, are Italian breadcrumbs. Now you can certainly do just plain breadcrumbs where maybe you would just use onion powder, garlic powder, and pepper. But we are doing Italian ones tonight. And as I said, we're going to do, since we have 2 cups of breadcrumbs, we're going to do 2 cups of Italian seasoning. It doesn't have to be completely exact, but try to be close. Having to pour this out. I'm at the end of my bottle of Italian seasoning, so bear with me on this. Okay. Then, get the rest in there. And then we're going to do basil. And I'm just going to do kind of like a, I'll show you when I get it. It's kind of like part of a capful. I like a lot of basil. And we're going to do oregano. Italian oregano. And then we're going to do some garlic. I think I'm just going to do it this way for the garlic. Roasted garlic powder. And then I'm going to do some black pepper. And you could do the same concept too if you were, so I discussed about the plain breadcrumbs, but if somebody was going to do, let's say you're going to do crab cakes and you wanted to make them Cajun style, you could certainly use Cajun spices. That would work also. So however you want, but I'm wanting to have Italian breadcrumbs. Now I have a couple of videos. I have some elk meatballs that I did a video on, and you can do the exact same recipe with beef. And I also have salmon patties or salmon cakes, whatever, people have different names for them. And I also did that with breadcrumbs. So these particular breadcrumbs I've already tried out, and I did the salmon patties, and they came out absolutely delicious. Now, if you really like salt, you would add your salt as well. Okay, so kind of salt to taste if that's what you want. I don't feel the need to add salt. I got so many other spices in here. So we will puree it again. Oh, I think I actually, oh, no, I got it done right. For a second I thought it wasn't. Okay, so we'll puree this again just to mix up all the spices. Okay. It smells delicious. Yum. All right, so the thing I like about the Ninja is you can actually just totally remove the blade, which is really cool. And I'm going to just unplug this and kind of put this over here. Then I'm going to take a spoon and I'm just going to make sure that it's totally mixed up on the bottom. And it appears that it is. I'm just kind of checking it. All right, so I'm going to take a Ziploc bag store it into the Ziploc, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this bowl that I have my cubes in and just do it over it in case anything spills. We could always recover it. And like I said, this was a half of French bread. Last time I did this, I did a whole one, but I do have leftovers. So the way to go ahead and store this is you're going to try to lay it as flat as possible in your Ziploc storage bag. And then I'm going to close it. Try to get all the air out as much as possible. Make it a nice thin layer. And I wouldn't recommend doing a seal meal because you might not need all those breadcrumbs. Like when I made my salmon patties, I didn't need them all. So I just took out what I needed. And then I'm putting another, just to be extra careful, I'm putting another Ziploc going the other direction because I really want this airtight. And this is how we're going to freeze it. And then I'll show you what the one that I already did looks like in just a couple minutes here. As I get this in. Okay. Well, I see some air. I definitely want to get that air out. Okay, so there we go. And then what I will do is I will date it. Or I'm going to put Italian breadcrumbs so that we know in today's date. I could just put June of, oh, I guess I'll just put the whole date. Okay, so there we go. Italian breadcrumbs now. Just hold on a second and I will show you what the frozen ones look like. All right, so this was the one that I already had frozen. And all I did was I just put a spoon in there and I took out what I needed. It was no problem at all. And then I just Ziplocked it again and put it back in the freezer. So you just want to store it in the freezer flat. Okay? And that's all there is to it. It's quite easy to do. If you find that you can't find the breadcrumbs that you like at the store, like I couldn't find it, then this is an alternative. And I just try to remember to pick up a loaf of bread while I'm at the store. Then I make my breadcrumbs, throw them in the freezer, and when I need them, they're handy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. For those of you who subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. And if you don't, I hope that you do. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.